Hello everybody, welcome to this playthrough for Master Division with various wind here in Golf Clash the game. Before we have a closer look at all the content in this video, make sure that you do hit the thumbs up button, also subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. That helps the channel immensely. For those of you that do want to take the next step in your game and improve it even more, you can scan the QR code here on the screen or use the link that is in the description down below called patreon.com/golfclashtommy. We there have checkpoint challenge, tour play and tournament guides for everyone. So make sure to check it out and sign up and improve your game today. You can start as low as $3 per 30 days. Info box on the right hand side to get the club distance adjustment, elevation adjustment, also what ball and club type I suggest you to play with. Have in mind that those are all suggestions and you don't have to follow it if you don't want to, but there is always a plan behind it. So let's go to hole number 1. On the drive on hole number 9, start with the rock and P3 ball at NMT, swap to Apocalypse bag, add 6.9 top spin and 2 left spin. 6.9 is just one click before the 7 top spin mark. Adjust max plus 10 P3 and we're going to go with half a ball of left curl with max OP and a slow needle. If you do want to play with a P2 ball instead, you can swap to that ball after you have swapped to a POC bag. Make sure to pack the B52 level 7 or better, or that you pack the Goliath level 9 because we have shot for both. For the second shot with the B52 level 7 or level 8, we are going to use 4.7 top spin is what I would like to do. Here I'm using a little bit too much top spin in this replay and you will notice me coming in a bit too hot. I want the ball guideline to be just shy of the hole, and that's to prevent us for coming in too hot, hitting the pin and then miss out. Bottom of the yellow rain by the rough line, we are going to play this one with 50% slider. From +2 and +3, and we're gonna go -40% elevation, P2 numbers, adding or subtracting 0.1 for every 2 yards. Perfect ball, and we are bouncing into the rough, rolls up onto the green, dropping dead center for an eagle here on hole number 9. Gokakcho Bay, hole number 4 from the third tee, and we're gonna play from the min line when we do have a headwind. I think that's absolutely perfect. It helps us being able to aim at the hole or at least close to it, and then when you have the min line to help out with the rest. If you do have a tailwind, then you can back up and play with a B52 or with a Grizzly instead. 20% elevation, but what you need to have in mind here is that the elevation will not be 20% all the time. What I mean with that is that you can use the 20% as a base, but in some wind angles you might have to increase or decrease the elevation to give yourself a better look at the hole, because elevation is just a part of the full setup. So don't be afraid of changing the elevation if you feel that you need to get the ball to go more left or more right or more up or more down, for example. Sure, you can go with backspin shots and stuff like that as well, which is one way of attacking this hole. This is an interesting par 3 in my opinion that offers different alternatives. Hole number 6, Gokakcho Bay from the third tee here. We are going for a blast. This is a perfect wind to get ourselves close to the green or on the green. But when you're playing shots like this, there will always be a risk of going into the rough or into the sand, either before the green or after the green, due to just the nature of this type of shot. We're moving rings to the right. We are moving rings based off the wind angle together with the wind strength. And now we're just trying to use the correct spin setup, so once we do hit the fairway with our first bounce, we are going to slow the ball down enough and have the side spin enough to push the ball onto the green, or once again to be close to the green. Bounces, and you can see here that we come in here and we land nicely just before the rough on the back, but it's absolutely perfect, and this will mean that we're going to lock in the albatross in a very simple way compared to what it would be if you would lay up. If you do have a more crosswind typey wind, or you do have a headwind, this is not going to be a possibility to play the shot that I displayed here in this playthrough. Then you are going to have to lay up, and from there it's going to be a sniper or a B-52 from distance. On hole number 4 from the third tee in a crosswind and in a headwind, we are going to play with a driver most likely. This as it then is perfect for us to play from the min P2 line. Here I'm using some backspin and setting my quarterback at min with ball guideline to hole. Then the adjustment will differ depending on what wind direction I have here now in the headwind, but the true elevation is 10%. Now, again, you can play this one in many different ways, and like I said in the beginning of the like the voiceover here, that in a tailwind we are going to play with a wood club, and I would say that playing with a wood club here is more difficult because you're gonna most likely have to adjust a lot of rings if you want to play with the sniper. But there are club swaps that you can do offsets. There are many different ways, but hole number 4 will always offer a good chance for a drop. Take your game to the next level with our ultimate tournament text guides for the Hanami Heat 9-hole cup here in Golf Clash, the game expert and master division, free to play paintball plays for those that do want to have an advantage over your opponents in this upcoming 9-hole cup. It's steady wins as well, so the qualifying round wins will be the same as for the final round wins. So sign up by scanning the QR code here on the screen, or go directly to patreon.com/golfclashtommy via the link that is in the description down below. For hole number 1 of the Gokasho Bay from the third tee, we are obviously going to play down the right hand side. There aren't many other fairway path to take. Besides, if you do have a straight tailwind, you can send it with a P5 wind 0 ball, but that's not the wind we're having now. We are starting a P3 max rest using 3 left spin only, adjust max plus 10, and then we're using 0.75 ball of left curl. The intention here now is to have a consistent drive without any risks of going into the rough on the left or the right, and then we shall go for a funnel play on the approach. The funnel play can look very different depending on what wind angle you have from this spot. So in this case we have not a completely straight tailwind, but close to it. I like to go for a rough bump here because it allows me to aim at the hole. If you would be bouncing before the rough, I mean, I'm not saying it's not gonna work. I just feel like it's going to be a little bit more difficult, especially when you have tailwind, as you would probably going to have to use some sort of an offset. You can see me moving around there. You can see that the tip of ball guideline is more or less getting stuck at the same place, which is what classifies a funnel. No elevation on the second shot, and as we do have the tailwind, I'm going to use the circle brake on the power to just make sure that we're landing where we aim, because the tailwind will make the ball fly longer. So if we're not using the underpower, we will in that case be landing too far forward and be getting a much different rollout than what we are looking for. An eagle here is definitely, I'm gonna remove the word definitely. It's going to be a bonus with a drop here in my opinion, but you will see players dial this type of play in, and then if you do that, you have a proper check and stuff like that, you're gonna see this more as a likely drop when you go in to play it than if you would go in and do all by feel. Hole number 6 of the Sakura Hills from the third tee, starting with QB and a P3 ball in NMT. Then I'm swapping to a POC and sniper bag. 7 top spin and 1 right spin, and we're gonna make an adjustment that is max plus 10. The intention with this type of play, especially when we do have a crosswind and a little bit of a headwind, is that we do want to use max overpower with a slow needle to allow ourselves to gain more distance than what we would be getting if we would be starting a P3 max rest. Now, you can start with a power 4 or a power 5 ball and do the same type of trick by using a power 4 ball and power 5 ball all the way through, but try to keep this playthrough video as to be P3 ball as minimum, especially when it comes to on the free-to-play side of things. The ball rolls nicely down the fairway, and from there we're going to have a rough bump to the approach. This is going to be more or less at the max line with our sniper, which also speaks towards, I mean, the benefit of using a power 4 or a power 5 ball to give yourself more room. I'm setting up with the yellow rain by the sand and yellow rain by the rough line, and then I'm applying 2 green squares past the hole, being left side of the cup. Adjust here is 10% slider, sorry, 10% elevation, and then through club distance. What you need to have in mind though is that the elevation can be changed. You don't have to play 10% here. It's all about what gets the ball in the hole. So if that means that you're gonna have to play 0 or 5% or something like that, then do that. It's just a number. So tweak it the way you can to get the desired outcome. Perfect ball hits the rough a little bit over adjusted, but we're dropping it hard on the left hand side. Hole number 5. Here we are going to start with a P3 ball. Doesn't matter what P3 ball you start with, but we're gonna start there with half of the blue ring inside the left rough. Then standard overlap with a poke 7 and 5-6. 3 top spin, 1 left spin, and we're swapping to a P5 with side spin 1 or better, and also wind 3 or better. Adjustment is going to be max plus a 10 P3. Once adjusted, we are going to go max overpower with max curl to the right and try to hit. Perfect. It is kind of an aggressive drive where single grades on either side has been fine. And the thing is though, if you hit a bad grade right, you might roll into the rough on the right, but then it's still an easy save from there. Using a ball with wind 4 or wind 5 will give you a much slower needle on the drive because you won't adjust as high up into plus yardage. Now, second shot, we're going to do a max backspin shot, max backspin and half a bar right spin. You can see here now that we have the ball guy line to go through the hole, having the second bounce approximately 1 green square past the pin. Using our landing position here, which is +1 as our base, 84% slider with a 10% elevation, P4 numbers, and we will be adding 0.1 for every yard. This as the push from the wind once it hits the ground will be pretty intense, so therefore we're adding 0.1 for every yard. Dead center for a lovely eagle here on hole number 5 with a tough wind of T. Get on Sakura Hills hole number 2. This is a par 3 where there are a lot of elevation to be used here. The default elevation for this type of hole is +20, but you will see maybe yourself, but others to play this one +14, +50. And the reason for that is because they are compensating for the wind instead of doing an offset that I'm doing there with the spins. One thing to think about as well as this par 3 is that when it is this opened, you will always have no problem to get the ball to the hole. But it's going to be difficult to be consistently dropping this one for an hole-in-one. What you're going to need to do is to find a spot a bit far back, like I'm doing there. It's going to help you in terms of attacking the pin. You can use the Guardian, you can use the Cataclysm instead as like a substitute to the Sniper to allow yourself to pull less than 10 rings. I mean, there are many different ways of going about it on this par 3, but in the end, it's going to be no problem for you to get the birdie. A win 5 ball is definitely recommended if you have the possibility, but with a win 4 ball, it's definitely going to be possible. It's just going to decrease the drop rate a bit. For hole number 3, we're going to start with a P4 ball in NMT. Here you can play with win 4 or win 5. It's up to you which one you want to play with. So here you could technically play with a win 4 P4 precision if you are a precision junkie. However, though, using a win 4 ball, then you will have to pull twice on the approach, which you will avoid using a win 5 ball. Adjust max plus 10, and then we're going to push up 6 yards after we have made our adjustment. Outside wall, left curl, and hit. Perfect. 5.5 top spin and 1 left spin. This drive has been very consistent, and this is always the tricky part with this par 5, to get the drive to end up at the same place, because it's very easy to be, you know, a couple like a 10 yards shorter, 10 yards longer, etc. So for the second shot, we're going to use our B52, half of the red ring, to overlap the rough onto the fairway. It looks like French, but it's for fairway. Then we're going to do a top white ring pin check, this to allow us to, even if we are slightly short, to have room for that. So once you have found the spot with top half of the, not half of the red ring outside the rough line, we're going to look to use somewhere between 0.5 to 0.8 topspin to have the ball guide line tip just short of the hole. Adjustment is going to be from +6. We are going to do 40% slider, plus 5% elevation, P4 numbers, and we're adding or subtracting 0.1 for every yard. If playing with a P4 with a win 4 ball, once again you're going to have to pull twice, and you're not gonna pull twice over bullseye. Dead center for lovely albatross. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching this playthrough for Master Division with various wind. Make sure to scan the QR code here on the screen and go directly to patreon.com/golf-tommy. That is via the link in the description down below. This for our premium guides. We offer premium guides for all the game modes in Golf Clash. Thank you once again for watching. I wish you the best of luck in your Golf Clash game.